Without you, we should meet at prayer. The entire four corners of this building, I cover with the blood of Jesus. Lord, I saturate this place with the power of the Holy Ghost. Let your grace, your anointing, and favor be upon us in the mighty name of Jesus. Father, we pray for Lord, please put your respect and understanding. The Lord, at the end of the day, all of us will speak to one voice. And we work as a nation and as a team. Father, we believe it's a peace wherever we have gathered in the name. You will be within us. Father, we believe your presence is here. And wherever you are, there's always peace and there is love and there is prosperity. That is why God will call upon you to come and have your way. Take total control over this entire meeting. Until we leave, we surrender everything before you. Be the chairman of this meeting. Father, thank you for everything that you have done. Blessed be your name. In Jesus' precious name we pray. Grace, the grace of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and the love of God, and the sweet fellowship of the Holy Spirit, rest, remain, and abide with us all, now and forevermore. Amen.
Thank you, Siri Ambasu. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, at a gathering of this nature, I'm sure the most appropriate person to welcome us and tell us the process is the sector ministry, in this case, the Ministry of Local Government and Community Affairs. I invite Ambassador Tamalawina to give us the welcome address and tell us the purpose of the project.
Honorable Vice President, Honorable Vice President, Honorable Ministers, local government staffs, commissioners, centralization of governance, government partners, chief administrators, and other officials, both national and international. Good morning. Welcome to this interministerial local government and community affairs stock taking meeting. Honorable Vice President, sometime last year, to be precise, in March, the ministry requested that the political heads of local councils were to be set aside while the chief administrators continued to provide leadership and management of local councils. Multi-tier elections have now been completed, and the ushering in of political leaders with a fresh mandate is upon us. This stock-taking meeting is in preparation for the installation of our new leaders and decision makers in all localities. You are aware that government fully committed to enhancing the central role of local councils and the wider local government family within the political system. Let me, at this juncture, Honorable Vice President, on behalf of the local government family, use this opportunity to congratulate you both as being chosen to be the Vice President, now elected, and also now the Chairman of the Interministerial Committee. The people of Sierra Leone have spoken in a thunderous voice, and the resounding victory at these elections is a testimony to that fact. Local government is the bedrock of democratic accountability in Sierra Leone, and its future role is critical toward the transformation of our country. In the previous dispensation, key roles of critical focus was paid to various issues of governance, particularly within the medium-term National Development Plan. The agenda in the new manifesto focuses on various issues that local councils need to pay attention to, amongst which is the human capital development, the creation of jobs for youth, feed salary. Of course, in all of this, we know that there needs to be a balanced growth and development in every region and community across the country. The recently enacted 2022 Local Government Act was a landmark achievement, Your Excellency, that succeeded in entrenching democratic local governance and in ensuring that funding allocated to local service delivery actually flowed out of filter to local communities. This new legislative agenda, of course, ushers in a new dispensation and the mandate that has been given to the politicians working alongside the administrators. As we gather here today, Honorable Vice President, we have one of the pivotal arms of local governance, that is the chief administrators. Sometime towards early last year, the ministry, in collaboration with all the arms of the local ministry, governance ministry, paid visits to all 22 local councils in an initial effort to instill confidence and also to encourage them to provide the required leadership whilst the political heads were present. During those visits, we realized that local councils were playing a very critical role, as evidenced also in the visits of His Excellency the President in all 190 chiefdoms nationwide. But the human capital development issue is one that we need to pay attention to. It has been manifested very glaringly in the current manifesto. Feed salary, reduction in maternity death rates, free quality education. Those, amongst others, have been given the required traction by the previous administration. And it is for us now in local governance to push that forward, as local councils have a critical role to play in ensuring that these objectives are actually met. About 2 months ago, government unveiled the main elements of a new regional growth strategy, especially in those sectors, which will aim to transform our economy over the next 30 years, positioning the country as a new production and export hub to global agribusiness sector, and driving the agenda of increasing GDP. Your Excellency, Honorable Vice President, we do know that in all that, local councils play a critical role in moving that agenda forward. Again, it is the role of local councils and the wider local government model that will be critical in driving economic transformation agenda. It is clear that the future of local governance and democracy is safe in the hands of the government, our government's commitment to completing the process of decentralization and devolution has already broken shape, and the enthusiasm for strengthening the role, powers, and functioning of local government is undiminished. Today's meeting forges a new partnership between central and local government, a renewed pledge to entrench and broaden the role of local councils, and ultimately, fresh start for both tiers of local government. On that note, I want to thank the Honorable Vice President for this laudable initiative in getting the wheels of governance prior to the installation of the political leaders. Very soon. I want to welcome you all to this stock-taking event and wish you us all a pleasant evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Minister of Local Government and Community Affairs, for the welcome address, the declaration of purpose, and for the bones of some of the issues we look at this morning. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, in 2004, when the local councils were reinstituted, following 32 years of demise, those of us who have followed the process keenly, we agree that one of the drivers of local government service delivery is the Ministry of Finance, to the effect that the local government finance department has now been transformed into the Fiscal Decentralization Directorate. That shows the commitment of the Ministry of Finance. On this note, I will now invite the Minister of Finance to make a statement. Thank you, sir.
Right Honorable Vice President, ministers, leaders from the local government system, administrators, other heads of government department and agencies, good morning. And I'm very pleased to be with you. Of course, the objective of this meeting is very clear, is to establish government commitment to our decentralization process and ensure that we deepen most of the development interventions that we've been doing using your arm of government. From the Ministry of Finance point of view, I can only reiterate our commitment. It's not a perfect system. Of course, building institutions is a process, it takes time. And we've all been doing it over years. But one thing is very clear, that the SLPP government is deeply and seriously committed to subnational government institutional development. It has been shown, we have exhibited this over years by making sure that we provide the resources required for you to prove your work and make sure that the people in the country believe in the value of that structure in delivering services right at the doorsteps. And so this institutional architecture, I believe this government is committed to it. And also the Ministry of Finance, through the Fiscal Decentralization Department, will continue to do the needful in ensuring that you get a fair share of vertical integrated resources, but also fair share in the distribution across different facets of the local government system. I know we are not perfect. There are issues around predictability of resources. There are issues around the size of the resources you must have to be matched up with needs in the local system or the local government structure. We are ready to listen to all of those areas to ensure that we establish our commitment and deepen and improve on the way we will make sure that you have confidence
in that structure of government that we have established. So, Vice President, ministers, and colleagues from the local government system, this is as much as I will say. We are in a listening mode. Let's hear out from you, and let's see how deep in this development going forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Minister, for those reassuring words. No doubt he was a member of the local government family as director of the local government finance department sometime in his career. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, in all of this, the services are at local level, including the Western area. So I now call on the Minister of State in the Western region of Cabinet rank to make a statement on behalf of our colleagues. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, the Honourable Vice President, colleague ministers, permit me to stand on existing protocols here to express my appreciation and pleasure to be part of this program here this morning. I believe that our local councils, our administrators who have carefully handled the functioning of the councils over the past couple of months since the absence of the political leadership ought to be commended for carrying that responsibility to the best of their ability. As regional minister, and on behalf of my colleagues, I must say here that you have been an integral aspect of our delivery, service delivery within the various regions. We would like to thank you again for your commitment and your steadfastness, and extend our willingness to continue to work with you to ensure that development is achieved at all levels. For us as ministers, cooperation and collaboration is very critical, and it would interest you to know that we have our own forum where we do exchange ideas, lessons learned, best practices, and it has been a very important forum for us because it's given us insight into how operations work in other regions. So despite you may not be seeing us have this kind of forum as often as we would love to, but we do have a certain level where we do exchange ideas and look forward to proffering solutions to ensure that development reaches all areas within our various jurisdictions. But today again, we're here today again to listen to where you have come, what you have been able to do, and to see how we can also fit into ensuring that delivery at your level is achieved. I would like to thank you again, once again, for your cooperation. And I'd also like to thank our Honourable Vice President for the leadership, the exemplary leadership that he has demonstrated for 5 years. And I'm looking forward, I know we're all looking forward to engaging with him for the next 5 years to see how we can strengthen local government, to see how the people will continue to be at the center of our programs and our policies, to ensure that cooperation, participation, inclusion is delivered, as this is this particular government's aim. My colleague, the Minister of Local Government, mentioned the new trajectory upon which we will be working on for the next 5 years, and he stressed on the importance of human capital development. He stressed on the importance of feeding the nation. He also stressed on the importance of health outcomes, of us having favorable health outcomes, as has been enshrined in the new government's the new SLPP manifesto. And I use this opportunity to encourage all of you to ensure that you put your best foot forward, because if we're united in a pathway that has been chosen for us, that has been chosen by the people, then we know that development will be sustainable and it will be attained everywhere. So I hereby encourage you all once again, on behalf of my colleagues, I encourage all of you for us to continue to work together. Let us focus on those things that work rather than those things that bring us down, and see where it will take us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Madam Minister. Ladies and gentlemen, whatever is done at the local level is high from the National Development Plan. That is to say, service delivery of the national government at local level. On that note, we all know that it is very important that we have the Minister of Planning and Economic Development, whose plans are being implemented at local level, to give us a statement. Mr. Minister of Planning and Economic Development.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Honorable Vice President, colleague ministers, local government family here present, our development partners, of course, our very important chief administrators from all the local councils. It's really a pleasure for me to see all of you present again. I know we had a big meeting again in the same building just before the elections, and today we are here again to discuss with you. I'm actually very pleased, to be there again to join the local government family as part of the interministerial committee responsible for local government and decentralization. Before I say anything, let me join the multitude of Sierra Leoneans to congratulate our Vice President for his preferment to serve the people of Sierra Leone for a second term for 5 years, next 5 years. Congratulations, Honorable Vice President. I also want to thank the Ministry of Local Government and Community Affairs for this opportunity to take talk, stock take on local council activities as we prepare for another 5 years of delivery on the President's manifesto. Let me also use the opportunity to thank the chief administrators, yourselves, for your contribution to the local development processes across the country. And over the last few weeks, and days, honestly, I came to the realization that our councils have done so much as you are living. And sometimes we take it for granted, and I believe that we shouldn't too. You guys have played an extremely important role, of course, together with your political colleagues, chairs, the mayors, councillors, and so on. But you've been there to hold the fort. And over the last few months, in your absence, we've seen how you held things together in your respective jurisdictions. Thank you very much for that. Honorable Vice President, colleagues, this is a very important exercise. Stock-taking exercise is always very important because it gives you an opportunity to reflect on what you have achieved. Also to think of what lessons you've learned over the period, where you had some challenges and weaknesses, and going forward to think of what we should do, to strengthen your institution, to make sure you can deliver even better. I think this is really very important, and Honorable Vice President is coming at the heels of a new manifesto that has been unveiled already. You already know about the Big Five, and it's going to guide government in many, many ways. The next task we have, of course, is how we translate that manifesto to a national plan. And when we get to the national plan, how we cascade that to a district plan, I think it's really very important. That's why stock take is important, as you know. And your role is very important. And we have central approach to planning. As you know, it's a process you are going to play a key role in. And the good thing is, we have already set up in each district a district development coordination committee, and that committee is going to play a pivotal role in trying to translate His Excellency's Big Five ideas to the national plan. and how we blend those also with what is coming from the people in terms of what they want for the next 5 years, for our country. I think it's really very important. And that's why this stocktake is something we should really all take very seriously. And as the Ministry of Planning and Economic Development, I just want to assure you the ministry will be very much involved in the process and will take the lead, but this is going to be also in collaboration, very, very strong collaboration with yourselves at district level. It's a national exercise. There are going to be many, many, many players. We have the NGOs, we have civil society, we have our development partners, we have academia, we have all kinds of people. And of course we have the politicians also. We are all going to play a role. And at the district level, clearly yourselves, the local councils, and the paramount chiefs, all the local authorities, the district NGOs, those operating at that level, community-based organizations, the women, the youth, all of them are going to play a role in this process. So that's why this topic is very important, and as we plan the next steps, clearly we would like to make sure that your recommendations from this, is taken on board in the planning process. So we are very happy to be here and be listening to whatever you have by way of recommendations, and so that we can take them on board and plan these processes very seriously. So on behalf of the Ministry of Planning and Economic Development, I want to commit to your engagement and commit to your participation, full participation in these national processes, and of course the processes that involve the districts. I want to thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Minister. Ladies and gentlemen, we all know that the Local Government Act has a provision that the Honorable Vice President serves as chairman of the Interministerial Committee for a very obvious reason, that it is a multi-sectorial arrangement. When you have peers, there should be somebody above the peers to chair, as in most governance arrangements. So there is no doubt that we have the Vice President as chairman, and by beautiful coincidence, he is a governance specialist. Ladies and gentlemen, I will now give the floor to my boss, the Honorable Vice President, to give the keynote address and formally open this session. I'm sure in the course of which will give you the vision of the government. Thank you.
Please kindly sit down, please. Mr. Chairman, honorable ministers, also personally thank the Western ministers who traveled all the way from the provinces to join this very important session. Our colleagues from the various councils and municipalities, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let me, on behalf of the Interministerial Committee, formally welcome you to this all-important meeting. You will recall that a couple of months ago, we met at UBA as a way to prepare you to take over the affairs of the councils in light of the political dispensation. Today, we are here on twofold. One, to undertake a stock-taking exercise as we prepare to roll out the new administration. This is a very fine way to tell you that your powers are going to be reduced because the political guys are going to come back. So you are going to take second seat. And I know one of the 5 pillars of His Excellency's manifesto, revamping the public service for efficiency and effectiveness. So this means this is critical to building and ensuring what His Excellency usually calls the efficient management of the state. So this stock-taking exercise today is we are trying our level best. Like the Minister of Development just said, when you have a manifesto, the manifesto is broken down into a national development plan, and that is further broken down to what will be rolled out as some of the key delivery at the local level. But this stock-taking exercise is reversing that kind of methodology. Along the way, we have experienced a very weak policy environment, weak Local Government Policy and Development Act of 2004. Most of you politicians as well as public servants have complained of some of those weaknesses. We have also had very weak institutional arrangement to support effective decentralization and local government. We have seen a very slow pace devolution, what I call the 2F, functional as well as fiscal devolution. It has been very slow pace. But in spite of all those challenges, this government in the last 5 years, we made tremendous effort to address some of those challenges. We designed, under the leadership of the current minister and the deputy minister, the new Local Government Act 2022, which addressed some of these challenges. We tried to address both or equally the policy, legal and regulatory impediments that pose challenges to full and efficient functional devolution. I am also made to learn that the Ministry of Finance is equally working on a new fiscal devolution policy, and the Minister has already highlighted the commitment of that ministry. You see, what we have been able to do in the last couple of years, when we came in 2018, we had a meeting in Body School, wherein we called all the councils, municipalities, mayors, district councils, and I guess some CAs attended that meeting in Body School. At that time, the current chief minister was Minister of Finance. We made a commitment. Those were a very rosy period in the global economy. Only a couple of years down the line, we experienced COVID, and then the Ukrainian crisis. So we have been supporting development program in a very difficult global environment. Make no mistake, our revenue mobilization capacity was very low. The minister just highlighted that. So we could not provide all the funds and resources that was needed to local country. And also we registered the effort of certain local councils across the country that made huge strides to improve their own revenue base. I think McKinney was one. I think another district, I think Sisi Kenema, Cambia was another one. We commended them for that. Because you needed that resources. You see, despite all of that, the Human Capital Development Agenda of His Excellency, he tried as much as possible to place local councils at the heart of that. We know that we built additional classrooms across the country. We were able to recruit nearly additional 10,787 teachers. We are able to manage the distribution of learning and teaching materials. We were able to create additional centers for public exams. Government took over that. We were able to invest and roll out opportunities for foundational learning, because it was the vision of His Excellency that if you want a free quality education to succeed, even poor rural families should have access to send their kids to nursery schools. So we built a lot of foundational learning centers across the country. And I know you have been very pivotal to that. Equally, with healthcare delivery, we did the same thing. We recruited over 6,000 healthcare workers. We renovated a lot of healthcare centers. Particularly when I move around this district, when I meet healthcare workers, most of them, we put them on the payroll, and all of this happened in the last 4 years under very difficult circumstances. Another major development stride is the energy access. We progressively increase that along two fronts. One is the off-grid solar solution that we are able to electrify over 56 towns villages in this country. We know that there are big complaints of the increased tariff. The tariff very high. We came back to the drawing table and we removed the taxes on those solar grid solutions. And despite all of those efforts, we still know that the tariffs are very high. Government is going to make efforts to harmonize those tariffs at the local level. And also we increase generation and distribution capacity. We are able, as the first country in the CLST project, to bring electricity with the 1,300 kilometer line from Cote d'Ivoire and went through Guinea and Liberia. With that line, we are able to electrify Bo, Kenema, Konobi Street, and Environ towns. And by September, the transmission in Kamakwe will be finished. So the line will be extended to Kamakwe, Fanugu areas by the end of the year. And then also, I want to thank the Minister of Finance here. When he took over the Minister of Finance, he provided resources for the electrification of the 5 big towns. Today, the generators have been switched on in Moyamba, I think in Pujol, in Bomb, and Kambia is on the way, and Thailand. So those big towns now have electricity. So you can imagine that from 16% access, now we are far above 34%, and by October, December, we will hit 50 to 52% energy access. And those off-grid solar solutions will continue. I am saying all of this because it's to position the council for the next Big 5 manifesto agenda. Another critical area that this government did very well is the decentralization of support to farmers. You may know, all of you are aware that we created the district machineries. We are in district level, we have sufficient machinery to support farmers to do their work. Why am I saying all of this? It's because the next 5 years, this government is going to give prominence to decentralization, giving its potential for national transformation. The Big 5, His Excellency rolled out his manifesto plans for this country. Among the 5 key areas this government is going to stress, you will notice that as government will be announcing cabinet positions, they are going to reflect that ambition and that vision. Feed salon is the expansion on agriculture. That means in addition to what we have done as a government, we are still going to do more if we want to meet the threshold. We did a lot of investment in agriculture in the last couple of years. That is why in 2022, we recorded 22% increase in domestic food production. But if you want to meet the threshold meaning that in the last couple of years, every year we are spending about $520 million to import food, of which $240 million, that has been reduced to $215 to $20 million now, to import rice alone. So the 22% domestic food production we experienced in 2022 means that if in the next 2 years, we'll have to double or triple that 22%, so that at least we get to at least 60-65% domestic food production. That will mean we are going to be very innovative in terms of creating the opportunity for local councils to play a vital role in agriculture. So part of this exercise today, although you have been given a framework to do the stock taking, but it's also to think critically how you have been relating to the machinery chain in your respective districts. What are your relationship with the service providers? Are they coming to the council? Or is the council going to them? What is the relationship? What do you think? How can you improve that relationship? What do you see as your own objective assessment of those machinery? This you may not say today, but this is something you have to keep. Maybe it is not part of your framework. Fertilizer distribution, irrigation opportunities, because you have to position yourself. The council cannot be outside of the big five. The council has to be part of the big five. So these are the debate. Job creation. His Excellency made it clear that in the next 5 years, his vision is to create 500,000 jobs. And not all these jobs will be created in Freetown. Because today, if you are providing 24-hour electricity in places like Bo, Kenema, Kono, we should be able to give incentive to industries to go and establish in those areas. Because in those areas, they will have access to land that is very, very minimal or not too expensive compared to the western area. And also the ministry, the government will be able to give tax incentive to encourage them to move to the province. Because you have to halt rural urban migration. So it has to be the reverse. What kind of policy the government undertake to encourage people to go back to the rural areas? One thing is job opportunity. And we know that His Excellency a couple of months ago launched the industrial park, the economic zone. And that is a potential, although they say it is in Kotoko district, that part of Kotoko district has been given to Freetown long time ago, to the western area, long time ago. And I think the idea now, I'm very pleased, when I travel from Bo, I see Sierra Leoneans building factories along Bo axis, and the incentive now for districts like Bo, and this will be extended now with Afton Community, be extended to carry the district to Fadugu. These are opportunities to encourage, particularly companies that are going to be established around agro-business, to go to the provinces. So they have to create employment opportunities. So job creation opportunities also. Councillors think about that. The other key one is communication, information technology, and information technology. I was just asking the Minister of Local Government that if all the councils are connected to internet. He said, well, some, most don't, but the Minister of Development was generous enough to give them a modem each so that they can be connected. But I believe in every district where you have the fiber optic, the council should be connected to the fiber optic. Sometimes when you ask individual councils about challenges, they limit it to just the money that is coming from Freaker, we are not yet here. But don't forget that even when you increase your access to technology, it's going to increase your efficiency as well. And the more efficient you are, the more productive you are going to be. So that is one of the big five. But the one I want to stress on is public service. You know, His Excellency made it clear that revamping the public service for efficiency and effectiveness. And the councils are part of that. And you are going to be negotiating development programs in the respective districts and localities, municipalities where you find yourself. I'm saying all of these for you to have a deeper reflection about how you are going to position yourself for the big five. Public service revamping. Like I said, in the next couple of days, we see the new government ministerial architecture. It tells you how this big five is going to be reflected. Now, in the new Local Government Act, we said, we clearly made it, I think, Mr. Minister, if I'm not wrong, that now local people working for local councils can also be working for the public service wherever they are. So people can be moved. You're not surprised to see they see him move to the office of the Vice President or to State House. And the last time also I told the Minister we have to make efforts for the 30% quota to be reflected in the number of CAs as well. We cannot commit for CAs to be retired voluntarily so that you don't say the VP was behind this revolution. So you can create upward professional mobility so that at least the women can come in. They can take up CA positions. It's very, very important. And then the fifth one of the HCD is of the big five is the human capital development. I've already highlighted that. His Excellency is going to deepen its investment in that area. We are going to continue to make sure that we build the bridge between basic education and higher education. We are going to build that bridge so that the kind of revolution that is taking place with basic and primary education feeds into higher education. So we are going to create a very smooth transition. That is one thing. And then also we are going to review hospital management. I must say, when I travel across most of the district councils and the district, I realize that district hospitals are struggling. They are struggling. And since the Ministry of Health is one of the ministries that I work very closely with, I normally engage and we realize that they are struggling. And government is going to think about creative means how to address that. Why? Because when we came in, the budgetary allocation to the health sector was 6%. We progressively increased that from 6 to 8, 8 to 9 to maybe at 11.7%. And in the next 5 years, we want to hit the Abuja Declaration target that says all sub-Saharan African countries has to spend about 15% of their budget on health. If we are putting that kind of money into the health sector, it has to be reflected on service delivery at the local level. And we are seeing there is a lot of gaps. Although we have made massive improvement in reducing maternal and infant mortality, that is particularly because we have been very creative in that area, but we still need to improve. It is inconceivable that a big district like Mo, if you have serious accident, they cannot attend to it. It is inconceivable. We are spending 11.7%. We are putting huge amount of money into the health sector. It is inconceivable that you have more than new hospitals like we have in Faraba, and after just 2 weeks after they receive drug medical equipment. After 2 weeks, those hospitals run out. They have to wait for the next 6, 7, 8 weeks again. That means there are huge problems with hospital management. I'm not going to attribute that entirely to local government, to the councils. It is a combination of factors, and government is going to critically look into those combination of factors and come with a model that is going to make those hospitals very efficient and be able to deliver services. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I am now going to come to this session. I want to conclude that this session is organized under the auspices of the Interministerial Committee, and it is designed essentially as a platform for sharing knowledge. Where do we go from here? You have been working in these institutions for the last couple of years. You've had the opportunity to serve both as political and administrative head. So whatever things you use to criticize your political leaders for, you have sat in that seat. And then you now know, maybe they have challenges that you never knew about. They have difficulties that you don't know. They have pressure that you don't seem to understand. Now you have the opportunity to sit down in that seat. Now you are better positioned to have a global and comprehensive view of how this council and municipality should run. Because now you take decision, you sign checks, you are vote controller and vote determinator, you determine the vote, you control the vote. So now we are inviting you back here to share some of those experiences. We want a frank discussion. We are not going to tell anybody think that you never like the dress code of your political leaders. Say my chairman always when he comes, he's always in green, or he's always in red, and that is not good for the council. Say it. We are not going to hold you responsible for that. But we want frank discussion, essentially around certain things. One, we say is a stock taking exercise, feedback on the status of your council. Your council, where are you in terms of policy, programmatic and fiscal situation? I think the minister has given the framework. But in light of that also, we look forward immediately when we move across the country to install the new councils, to have a deeper session, another IMC that is going to be dedicated entirely to technical work, because we don't want the councils to lag behind in terms of moving the Big Five, in terms of the implementation of the Big Five. We also want to have a picture of the national status underlying the review period. This last couple of months, what is the picture? Are the councils really struggling? Are they faring on? What is their domestic revenue capability? How are they faring on in the essential services, the basic services that if they are not performed, everybody will point at the council? Cleaning, for example, in the western, in the urban areas. I want to commend the Freetown district, the rural council, and Freetown City Council. They have been doing extremely fantastic job to clean the city. And I must commend you, because I move very early in the morning and I see the trucks all over the place, and during the night time also. I want to thank you. It's a very difficult fiscal environment. You are able to deliver that services, and at least the cleaning regime didn't break down. And I'm also impressed that market women from Waterloo, when they visited me during the month of Ramadan, they made special reference to the CA in that council, that he did a very good job, supported them, organized the women to clean that part. I want to thank you for that. The national status. We also want you to identify effort government has undertaken in the last 12 months. What are the efforts? We don't just want people to just come and tell us that you need more money, more money. give us ideas. I normally say ideas invites money. When you have ideas, money will come. But most times we put money before ideas. When you talk to anybody, including a local politician, I just give you the resources. No. Give me the ideas, let the ideas inform how I'm going to give the resources. So we need concrete ideas in that. Also, we want data. We'll be grateful if you can present us with concrete data that will feed into any national strategy for the next 5 years. Data will be very critical for us. Figures, we want to know. So this is the idea why we decided to organize this meeting. And I want to thank my colleague ministers that are also very vital to the decentralization process. That in the last 5 years we did our bit. We know there are challenges, but at least we now have a new act that is going to serve as a fundamental pillar to move on. And then more than any other time, we want to position the council in light of the Big Five. So we want going to go back. If you have not been working with the service providers for agriculture, get a picture of what they can do. See how you are going to get your feet in there. See, we are going to make them efficient. We are going to link them to council so that at least you know, but we also have to have a picture to define a future relationship with them. We count on your knowledge, like I said, it is going to be a bottom-top approach. Whatever ideas and knowledge you give us is going to feed into how we are going to move and support the council to deliver development to our people. So I want to reiterate the government commitment to decentralization, and I want to thank the Minister of Local Government for a wonderful job, the Deputy over the last couple of years. And we are very pleased with his work and the work of that ministry, and also how they have been working with the local administration, the paramount chiefs. We got a lot of very good feedback and commendation from local paramount chiefs, the chiefs across the country, about the minister and the deputy and the ministry at large. So I want to use this opportunity to thank you very much, all the ministers and the chiefs for that. And want to reassure you, what you see today, you have all the cabinet ministers are here to support you. We are part of this. It shows that moving forward, this government is committed to placing the council at the center of the Big Five of His Excellency. On that note, I would like to formally open this session, and I thank you very much for your attention.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let me thank the Honorable Vice President for a delivered speech. I'm sure we all have something to take back home. We've already had breakfast. I'll move into the technical session. But I'll ask that we have like 5 minutes to fresh up. We've already agreed that those are the front rows to take the back row, so the high table will move. Now the high table will move to that part, yes, so those ones to go back. Let me take this opportunity to also introduce the next facilitator of the technical session. That is the first. Thank you very much, Honourable Ministers and the Vice President, for understanding to move to the front row. And thank you, my colleagues. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Let me take this opportunity to introduce the next facilitator. He happens to be the first director of the Centralization Secretariat. More or less, he was the key midwife that delivered the council's solution. He now serves as governance advisor in the office of the president. Dr. Mohamed, please. Thank you.
Honorable Vice President, Cabinet Ministers, Chief Administrators, other government functionaries, partners present, good morning. It gives me the privilege once again to be on the podium to relate to the sector that is very close to my heart. And I'm also very heartened that a colleague and brother with whom I journey happens to be the Minister of Finance. Honorable Vice President, like I said, decentralization and devolution, that is deficient of the fiscal bits, becomes a little challenging. But I want you to be heartened. I didn't hear you clap with all the promises from one of yours, the Minister of Finance, about the good intentions of the government in terms of making sure that the missing bits. The sessions, like the Honorable Vice President very well illustrated, it's really to take stock. And when we talk about stock here, we want to look at the 1 year horizon, to look at what has been done. I remember in the planning processes, I was telling the permanent secretary of the ministry that we are pretty much aware, we have a good sense of what the challenges are. But we want to look at some of the more substantive things that have been done, that could have been done. And we look at exactly where we are with those. And we are hoping that by the Honorable Vice President that to give us concrete data and information, because one of the things that government will be looking at going forward is that we want every statement, policy statements that are going to be made, that they are data-driven and data-dependent. And so I want to start with you. Who are the front-end users of all the policies of state, who are also supposed to be at the level of providing last-mile service to the people of this country? And there have been a lot of promises on the part of government that their lives will be better, and collectively that should be done. So what we intend to do in the next session is to give or to allot to each of the local councils 10 minutes in segments, so that you give us a broad view of what is already contained in your framework paper. I want to also reiterate that the framework papers are required, because those needs to be consolidated and provided to the interministerial committee, and that is the most urgent of priorities, because government needs and it is very urgent. I had some calls from some CAs talking about delays, and I was saying to CAs, if you delay to present the framework with detailed information, it automatically tells me from where I'm standing that there is a huge problem with your development planning unit, that your monitoring and evaluation unit is dysfunctional, and that you as a chief administrator, you have not been given an oversight on the development process and interventions. Because if you have your development planning unit functional and the M&E is aligned, and now we have a NAME that goes around supporting, this is information that should be at your fingertip that can be generated in 48 hours. So I want to really say that if I were the minister, I would not give undue extensions. We're in a hurry, and if, like the Honorable Vice President says, if we want to deliver with efficiency in time matters. And when we started, we didn't have M&E prioritized. M&E is now very inbuilt in the way government functions. So if somebody were to ask you, how many projects do you have? That should be easy to say. What is the value of each of the projects? That should be easy to say. When was this project launched? How much have you disbursed? What is your balance on the book? This is not information that you should cry about. If it is there, it is easy to provide. And in fact, when you get to provide it, it comes to be that perhaps you are trying to give me data that may not be very correct. So I want to take that from the outset that we will not tolerate explanations or excuses that this information will be provided much more later. It needs to be provided almost immediately. Having said that, I want us to give probably the first presentation so that the Honorable Vice President and some of the ministers will be released, and we'll be here throughout the day. And the rule of presentation is we'll present, say, the first 6, and then we'll discuss.
and it's another segment of 6, and then discuss, and the last 6, and then we end up the last 2. Whilst we are doing that, it's expected that we'll be taking note of all the critical interventions, because we want to see what will be the commonalities of the issues that run across. I also want to encourage us not to be stuck. Please, let's not hold back too much on issues of funding and logistics. Normally, we are held back by funding and logistics. There are interventions you can do that I want to call no-cost interventions. That is going to be reference to community engagement. You want to look at how many meetings you held, for example. How you handle your management decisions and follow-up. These are no-cost interventions, but these are very integral to the successful management of your councils and for you to go to the result. So we are looking at the fine mix of that. In no order, unless otherwise, but I want to give the privilege to the Frequency Council by virtue of playing host to us to see if they can do the first presentation. All right, let's see please. Sorry about that. I understand that there was some suggestion as to which one should start. Sorry. All right. So we start with Kenema City, and then we have all the districts. And I guess the president that you have 10 minutes and we'll be very rigorous about time. Please save us long courtesies. Just go straight to the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Vice President, this House of Government present, colleague Chief Administrators, our government partners present, good morning. I'm here to present on behalf of Kenema City Council, based on the templates that was provided to us. But I will first of all want to take you through